Good evening. This is a special meeting of the Natural Resource Inventory and Mapping Committee. With us is Ryan Oakes, Karen McKnight, and myself, Sandy Wilmot. The agenda item is really only one, which is to consider our outreach for the results of the mapping. We'll start with the information we received from Arrowwood about their possibility of presenting their findings. What Aaron had sent, I think I forwarded, which was for both he and Jeff to do an in-person presentation. And the cost was, see, I didn't even write that down. What was it, 1,500?
I think it was 1,500, about
Yeah.
1,500.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. I appreciated Penny's breakdown of, okay, well, if we think about how they came up with that number, what does that mean? I think it's too high for us to pay them, and so we need to think about some options. I did send Aaron a note saying that was too steep for us, and what if only one of them presented, or what if they did an online presentation, but I haven't heard back from him yet. You know, I can't imagine it's going to be $200 or whatever. So we can talk about, what our cap is, and we can also talk about other options if that's just not going to work out for us. So, any thoughts that either of you have?
Well, it was interesting that last week Jens felt seemed to feel like he could give a presentation, which would be, I don't know, are his presentations, is that all provided by Fish and Wildlife, all his work?
Yeah.
So I think that's one option we can look at. I don't know, is that the feeling you got, Sandy, that he felt like, I don't know if he'd want to, but it felt like he kind of offered that up to help either present with them, or he said he's done these things in the past where he's presented. So that's an option. Although it would be nice to have them, provide how they answer any questions about methods, or which maybe Jens would know some of, but may not know the technical. If someone really wants to get technical about a question, certainly would be there.
Yeah, I think Jens's feeling was that, his first choice is that they present. It's their work. They should be able to get credit for it, as well as what you're saying, where there's questions. They're the authority. I think he could provide a presentation, but I think it would be quite different than the way they would talk about it. Since he didn't do it, it would be more general, whereas they would be able to say, yeah, when I visited this area, it was, here's some really interesting things I found. And I also, I didn't see a lot of pictures in in their report, which I would imagine they have examples of the different habitats they visited, the rock outcroppings, or all those kind of examples, which that would be my first choice too. It's a matter of how much we can really afford. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't
What's
know.
Mhm.
Does Karen, did you guys have a line item or a budget item for that, or
We have a budget item for education,
right? But
and
wasn't for this
it,
presentation.
and it wasn't for that presentation. We Because we present a lot of education and we pay for many of our speakers, it's about the amount that it's the average of how much we spend, which is not a whole lot. I mean, we have $1,500 and I'm not inclined to spend it in one. I mean, I have to talk to the group, but in one fell swoop, I think that's a lot. And I mean,
I
it's
agree.
not, maybe it's not a lot for them. But I just comparing it to some other accredited wildlife specialists, it's about twice as much.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's a shame.
What do you guys,
Pardon?
sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I mean, it's too bad that they can't present their findings, but if I didn't realize it was going to be kind of an extra cost, I somehow thought that it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. I think though, Jens is a really good speaker. He would have to really he probably knows Underhill fairly well. He's been out a lot. He could get input from the wildlife people that are out here periodically and things too. It would be, on the other hand, did he suggest that we present it? I
I
don't,
don't know.
I listened to it and I just missed the last 10 minutes, but I didn't feel like he mentioned that we would be presenting it.
No.
I think maybe they were thinking or we were thinking one of the subsequent presentations or field walks that some of us or might have some knowledge about those, but certainly not for the big main presentation.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, and Karen, I forgot you weren't at the last meeting, but if you've listened to the tape, yeah, we really decided we wanted to first just celebrate the findings and be able to have some, a series of talks really, starting with Arrowwood or whoever we can, and then a couple field visits that would allow people to get excited about the findings before we really do much with them. Um, and if we wanted to have some field sessions that required other speakers we have to pay for, then certainly we can't spend it all in this one opportunity. Um, Can I get from both of you what you would consider a maximum that we would be willing to pay Arrowwood to give that presentation?
I was going to ask Karen what she feels with it's a fair amount and what the average is that they sort of budget for like in the series that you've done in the past. Is it like $500 a speaker or?
We do between 300 and 350.
Okay.
We declined one speaker because that individual wanted about 750, which seemed like a lot. We've been trying to get resources that are like the Vermont Agency of Natural Resources staff and things for
Right.
that. So, and when I did the budget, I did not include Arrowwood. We certainly can help. That's why I asked a question to Sandy in an email. Who would the presentation be for? And I would talk to Brad about finding money somewhere else in
Oh,
budget. And I can do that very willingly, but I wanted to know who it was for. And my sense is that is it the Celebrate talk, or is it the, um, I don't really know.
yeah, this is really for the public. This is a celebration of our findings, and here's what they are. Um, and uh, yeah, we aren't going to get into any of the Planning Commission um, possible regulations or policies, nor are we getting into what the Conservation Commission might do with the findings. It's really, what's interesting about Underhill, and that's really what it's about.
But the hope would be that all those commissions would have members there,
Right.
ideally. Yeah.
Yeah.
So not
Yeah.
specifically for the commissions, but they would want to be part of this, we would assume, as well as the public.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay,
I
so
mean, the town has paid large study, so sort of a presentation of the findings. But, and
yeah,
like Sandy said, and Jens was very, you probably saw it, Karen, that he was very, his feeling is that we should celebrate this before we would ever try to implement any of the results into any sort of planning process, that we should really celebrate all the sort of diversity we have in the town, wildlife and
yeah,
wildlife, natural resources.
yeah. No, I did. I saw that part of it, that discussion, and we do have a lot of. I mean, just the citizen nominating of what they saw was very interesting. Self, describing. So I
Yeah.
think that yeah. So well, that's a good starting point, and I know that we had a lot of work ahead of us when we tried to do this study in terms of funding. So again, we'll can find out how much is available. It should seem to be very attractive to our town to have a conversation about, look, you're living here and look at what we have. I mean, a lot of people may be aware, but not really aware of the the wetlands or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Um,
Okay, so Karen, you wanted to talk to Brad about additional funds that
yeah,
might be available?
yeah.
Okay. So if the Conservation Commission comes up with 300 that they could contribute and Brad has additional money, what would we want him to find? A couple hundred more, and maybe 500 would be our maximum that we are willing to pay?
I can't say. I'm trying to think of what I've budgeted for people already. I mean, that we've ID'd what speakers we want to come.
I
And
see.
I mean, I think there are three. I just can't really think of who they are right now. Um, so but the other thing is that in our budget, we have money for um, presentation materials, I guess is the way to say it. So maybe some of that money from there can go towards a speaker rather than we don't use a lot of presentation materials, but I just thought we might be making wonderful things that cost a lot, banners or whatever. And so we do have some money from there. But maybe I'd like to chat with Brad and see what's available in other places. I know, and I don't know that the town of Underhill has this, but some towns like have a pot that they use for things that they hadn't thought about, but that they decided they needed during the year. So that might
Well,
be.
I know the select board does have that, but I'm not sure they'd be willing to put additional funds into this. You know, they assumed that what they were paying was going to do everything. And, right along, we had told Arrowwood that we wanted to spend money getting as much information as we could. And
Mhm.
I guess I assumed, Karen, that the Conservation Commission funds would be enough for their presentation. So that was my error in not realizing how expensive they were going to be. So
Yeah, I mean that's what I just am surprised that it's going to be that expensive.
yeah,
I mean, actually taken aback by it. What did he say when you didn't say? He didn't say when you suggested just one person come.
I haven't heard back from him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think I sent it on Friday, and they were probably out. So today was the first day he considered it. I don't know. So I'll let you know if I hear back. And you keep in touch about what Brad says, and we'll come up with whether or not they can do it. And if not, then what I'm hearing here is that Jens would be a welcome addition to that if they can't do it. Is that right? You agree with that, Karen? Yeah.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Okay. As far as when the presentation would be, that was the other question. And according to what Aaron had written, they're available pretty much any time in the first 2 weeks of October. Um, it would be an evening session, so Monday through Thursday, one of those days, anyways. So we can choose some dates that we would prefer. And then if it turns out to be Jens, I'll ask him what his calendar looks like.
Mhm.
And then we'll try to home in on a date that way.
Yeah.
Um,
So when in thinking about dates, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but Ryan, as a parent, what do we want to think about in terms of, let's say we have dates we want to pick.
hmm
Um, and are they school nights? I don't think we can use the teachers' conference time because then people choose to go on vacation or whatever. What should we consider put into?
Uh, let me see. I don't think those first 2 weeks there's anything going on as far as like school
Okay.
breaks. There might be a Friday break in there, maybe around the 15th,
Yeah.
but I think it's just 1 or 2 days. So I think that's either first or second week of October. I don't know. What do you like? For me, any of those days work, I think. I mean, I can double check, but um,
Yeah. Okay. I was trying to remember. What about Indigenous Peoples Day? Is that the third week in October? Third
that's
week.
the 14th. Yeah.
14th.
So that's a Monday anyway, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
What day
Um,
of the week do you think is best? Not Monday?
I think not Monday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Monday. Okay.
Um, and then select board meetings are usually on Thursdays. Is that
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe a Tuesday.
Tuesday or Wednesday?
Yeah.
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 So that would be the 1st of October is a Tuesday, 1st or 2nd, and then the 8th or 9th.
Okay.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Well, use that as a starting point anyways, and
Yeah.
hopefully
Yeah.
that'll, yeah. Um, okay. So those things will be determined. And we'll hold it at the town hall, I would assume. Uh,
Okay. So should we have some sort of food? I'm listening. I was looking. Oh, here's my cell phone. Okay, it's right beside me. Sorry. Should we have food or something to get some maybe cider or apples or not apples, cider or something really chocolate chip cookies or something to get
sure.
people there. I
Oh,
would like something that would be attractive to have kids come. I remember when we had a beaver presentation with Kim, and there were some children in the audience, and they just got so turned on to what she was saying about the enterprising, busy little beavers, and it would be very neat because then the parents suddenly also light up with, oh, this is something I should pay attention to
mhm.
because my kids are really interested, kind of a
Yeah.
thing. So yeah,
Right. Yeah.
yeah. That's why I
I'm
was
not
asking.
sure this is really the kid-friendly presentation. I don't know. Would you want to bring your kids to something where there's maps being showed about, where the oak forest might be, or oh, this wetland?
I would.
You would. Yeah, okay.
my kid,
Don't
my,
ask me. Don't ask
my kid
me.
probably get into that
Ryan,
already.
ask Ryan.
Their eyes already glaze over as I talk to them when I'm driving down the road.
Oh, really? Okay. All right.
It's
Well,
a Charlie Brown scenario, right?
See that oak tree? Come
yeah,
on.
You're as excited as I am.
yeah.
Um, I think the field trips would be, that would be really good to get families to come to those for sure.
Yeah.
And if you can think of a good uh, way to get families to come to this, that would be good too. But
Yeah. Like,
uh,
certainly. Yeah.
so time, starting at 7, is that better than 6:30, or what do you think?
I think so. Yeah. I think 7's better after kind of people have dinner or, 6:30 kind of pushes it by the time you get home from work or, I think personally.
Yeah. Okay. All right. 7 o'clock it is. Um, so if that is our um, presentation, looking at other dates for field trips, um, we would want to have those on a Saturday or something,
I would think
or
so.
or a
Yeah.
Sunday afternoon. Would
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I Saturday, and that would be more attractive, do you think, with to have children come? Because I'm
Mhm.
thinking about Saturday morning sports.
Yeah.
And I know that even the Green Up Day, when the kids seem to come, is after softball games. So that's, I don't know. Maybe we should just advertise it and not plan for the kids, because maybe the afternoon wouldn't be a good idea either. So just maybe they have games in the afternoon, who knows? But
Yeah.
probably morning. Um,
The other thing we may want to consider is that as we push into November, that it's also hunting season. So where we would go, we'd need to make sure that people wear their orange, and you know,
mm-hmm.
it's just a consideration, I think, especially if it's around the first days of hunting season. The woods are very busy that time of year. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
Ryan, when is the youth? It's the youth weekend, hunting weekend. Isn't it October? Is it? It's in November, isn't it?
it is in October. It's the last weekend, so the 26th
Okay.
of October
Okay.
and 27th, 27.
Yeah.
And then the first day of like adult is
Let me tell you here. I think
probably
it's,
the 16th of November,
yeah, that's what I'm thinking it is, the 16th.
usually 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. So.
Yeah.
There's a couple weeks in there.
Yeah. I mean, the first weekend in November might be very nice, and maybe the last week in October, except I think it's teachers' conferences. So, but it doesn't matter. I mean, we've had a couple of great turnouts, and sometimes it's children, but mostly it's adults on the weekends. Saturday mornings be good.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. I haven't started to do any talking with people about potential speakers, but I will start doing that and try to get those underway.
Potential speakers for what? You
For
mean
those field trips. Yeah.
for the field trips?
Yeah. So
Maybe
what we had talked about was having maybe a wetland one, a forest one, and or a wildlife one. Probably two is the most we could do, just depending on who the speakers are that we get, I think.
I wonder if we could combine a forest and wildlife one. If we get two people to present together or work together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
An interesting presentation. See how different wildlife uses different types of forests, and you can kind of combine those two things, whether it's deer yards or the rock outcroppings and how those affect forest type, and like Jens is talking about a little bit, and then how that affects what. It'd be pretty neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know anybody in Fish and Wildlife except for Jens and Andrea, but that's not her thing. Andrea, short sleeves, isn't that her? She's more. Well, I do know her.
What does she do? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know what she does. I just have to think of what it is.
And she's from Jericho?
No, she's with Fish and Wildlife.
No, I know. I just thought she lived in Jericho was all.
I know her through Coverts, and she's spoken with the conservation. She's come to present at the Conservation Commission, things like that. But let me see. I'm going to
Is
pull
she
her
a
up.
good speaker then, Karen?
Yeah, she's really interesting. Yeah. Yeah. She's a very good speaker.
You might want to, I don't know if Blair Diamond lives in Jericho, and she's the she's one of the main ecologists for VLT.
What's her name? Blair?
Allaire, Allaire.
Oh, Allaire. And what's her last name?
Diamond, like the gemstone.
Okay.
She's quite really good ecologist and understands a lot of different kind of. She has a big, kind of wide amount of knowledge.
Okay.
And she lives. I think pretty sure she lives in Jericho, so she's close by. So even if I don't know what. I know we have Casey's Hill, but I'm trying to think of other VLT properties that they could sort of. She could give a little bit of ecology, but also pitch VLT a bit, and what they do.
Okay.
I don't know.
I could look on a map and see what other properties they've worked on.
What Andrea has on, let me go back. Oops, let me get out of this. I just pulled her up, and it says that she is, oops, that's her spring thoughts. Oops, where was it? She's a wildlife biologist, and she does things sometimes with Ethan Tapper together. He's no longer the forester here. However, and I think Andrea lives in Essex Junction. Ooh, I didn't know that. So if you wanted, that's a name. That's
Yeah.
yeah. And I think the most fascinating one was, or two of them, were the vernal ponds, but November is the wrong time for a vernal pond. And then Kent McFarland for the beetles, bugs, and butterflies. Those two are so good. But yeah.
Well, if we're talking about wetlands in general, there's quite a few different places you could visit. I don't know if that was Steve Facio that gave that. I don't know if would be willing to do something like that, but he's very good.
Yeah. We have to be able to bring it back to our Underhill lands, though, correct? Yeah.
Yeah. Which, anybody that's doing a presentation would need to be using the report and maps and be able to tie that together with our message that I wrote down what our message was, but I can't remember where I wrote it.
No. Oh no.
Oh, patterns and context. Yeah. Okay, well, I'll get cracking on speakers and we'll see what we can come up with there. Anything else we need to sort of get going on this that you can think of?
If
I
not,
don't.
kind of a solid date.
Yeah, we need to select a date. I think that we might be get someone on on the CC committee to make posters. We'll start putting them up on Facebook, FPF, and the Instagram account that Conservation Commission has, things like that.
I can take a stab at just writing a little blurb about the event. I guess what we're celebrating, what we're
Good.
proposing that will come watch.
And so first steps, I'll talk with Brad about additional funds. If he says nix nay, then we need to contact Jens? Or do you want to have someone else to do the general public presentation?
No, I think Jens would be our best bet there. Yeah.
Okay.
I would ask, tell Arrowwood we have $300 if you
Yeah.
could do it for that. But
Oh, I
yeah,
mean, it depends. We might have more. I know some of it's been spoken for
sure.
the budget, but maybe we have more. I'll look. I just when that amount came across, I went, "Whoa, that's almost going to clean out our education funds."
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Okay, you do those things, and then if it turns out to be Jens, I'll find a date that he's available, and that'll be our first go. Um, we did, yeah. The other thing that I was thinking about was the possibility of doing a postcard mailing that had all three of these dates on it and mail it to everybody so that it's, um, it doesn't surprise anybody that we've done this study and here's the results and, that kind of thing. I know there were some people that didn't think we were very transparent about what we were doing, so
oh,
that would
really?
give that a
Yeah.
push.
Okay.
But that also means money from the bus, I would have to talk to Brad about doing that also. So,
Mhm.
um, but since this is a subcommittee of um, the planning commission, there may be funds through that. So
Okay.
I will, when you talk to Brad, Karen, just be specific about the speaker, and then
Okay.
I'll talk about the mailing. And if we can't do the mailing, then so be it. But yeah,
I mean, the funds, I mean, the mailing, he may say, well, use FPF and we'll put it on the poster boards, the boards, you know, the, um, the way we warn public meetings anyway, put it on our town website, those kind of things, but we'll see.
nobody sees those, to be quite honest. Yeah,
Um, yeah. I don't think the town has a town-wide email list yet for them to use. I
yeah.
think that's where they want to go, but I don't know that that's happened. So, okay.
Um, So the other thing I wanted to just mention briefly, which we can get into in more detail, is the priority rankings that Jens had sent. I don't know if you had a chance to look at them, Karen. I know Ryan looked at them a little bit. Um, he is going ahead with trying to create the maps that we had discussed and wanted to have some sort of groupings that he could use there. So he had sent examples of two different towns and what they had used, and I combined it into one grouping that I thought seemed to encompass everything that they had talked about. Um, but I have no idea if this is really, what we want to do or not. So, um, in a way, it almost seemed like until he generated these maps, I don't know, how much of the properties it would include, the primary, secondary, and tertiary areas. So, um, I don't know if he's willing to, start with one list and then and generate the maps and then change it if we don't like the way it looks or something. But yeah.
So I thought when he talked about the priority rankings, didn't he have, he asked us to come up with what they are, right? Or no? Yes. So so like highest priority was like wetlands or something like that?
Well, I don't know if you saw the email I sent Karen. It had I just forwarded the email that Jens had sent me saying, here's what 2 towns have done. Um, what do you
When,
think of that?
when did
Um,
he do that?
well, you would have gotten that from me because he had just sent it to me.
Okay.
So I can resend that to you and we can talk about it more at our next meeting. But
Okay, good.
I didn't want that to go off our radar because I think the more time he has to work on it, probably the easier it'll be too. Um, yeah,
Yeah, and
so
that's really
yeah,
is our next.
Yeah.
I mean,
I didn't get the one from you with his rankings, I don't believe.
okay. I'll resend that to you.
Yeah.
Um, and then I mistakenly had written someplace that our next meeting would be the 24th, but I think it's really it's the third Tuesday, which would be the 17th. Okay. So it's really only 2 weeks away, and we could get into this a little more then. Does that
okay.
sound okay to everyone?
Yeah, and then we can, yeah, get into the rankings and then firm up our dates and speakers
Yeah,
and
yeah.
report together.
Wait, it's October 17th or September 17th?
September, yeah.
Okay.
That's our regular scheduled meeting.
Okay. So I will try to be there for that. I have a doctor's appointment in Boston.
Okay.
Okay, and I can't change it. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
post-surgery appointment, so um, uh, I might be able to call into it on driving home. I'm sorry, it's on it's just his schedule, not mine.
I wonder if we waited to the 24th. No, that's too late. Yeah. Okay.
Well, what about? I mean, I hate to do that, but what about Wednesday? Could we just move it one day? Or no, you have planning commission. I'm sorry, don't you?
Not on Wednesday.
I can't.
No. Or Monday. I mean, that might be, can't
Yeah,
do Monday.
Tuesday's the only day I have available that week.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think, will Penny be back or is she going to be gone?
Yeah, I'm not sure she'll be back.
Oh,
I
Is she
think she's
going
out
to
the whole.
I think
I thought
she
she's out
went,
the whole month of September. She's away.
yeah. Okay.
right.
So, yeah, it takes me 4 hours and I won't leave Boston until I won't be able to make it. I mean, just time wise. If I leave at 3 o'clock, because my appointment's at 2 o'clock,
Okay.
it's going to be 4 hours because it's going to hit rush hour. So I won't even be home till maybe 7. That would be probably the earliest. Um, yeah. So I'm sorry about it. I
Let's
just
see. Well, so we won't have a quorum.
You could just have a committee meeting with the two of you on the 17th,
Okay, I guess.
right? I mean, yeah, it's okay to work in a committee.
Yeah, and I can just talk to you ahead of time, Karen, to find out what you know, sort of finagle that whole thing, okay? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. We'll
Yeah.
we'll plan on that.
Okay. And if some more possible speakers come up, I will send you to, I'll CC you put everything in an email.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah. Anything else you want to talk about tonight?
Um, I was just, when we make, let's say Jens does the general one for the public. And I think it might be a given that he'll do that because didn't he talk about the Arrowwood people are super professionals, but they're going to be using scientific and expert, they're going to be using a lot of terminology that might not be common for some folks. Um, what kind of materials should we be preparing? Like huge maps or do we
Oh,
know? I suspect it'll take a while for that to happen, and I'm assuming we're going to be doing it for him, or maybe not. Maybe he'll do it. I don't know.
I think he can print maps for us to have on display.
Oh,
Yeah.
Or
okay.
assuming in his presentation he'll use maps out of the report electronically, and
Oh, yeah.
I think as long as
Yeah.
we have project, that's how he would present.
Okay.
Um, I get your point with paper maps. It's a lot easier to go back like after the meeting and look, at what someone's presented. It's a good point.
Yeah. Something for people will walk away and then we'll stop and go, oh, let me see where that is now.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
yeah. Actually,
Okay.
could have.
We'll
Yeah.
do that, and if he needs Brad to print them or something, we can do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good thought.
Okay. All right.
All right. Anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I can second that.
All right. All those in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
I
All right. Great.